Taping this video, it is 2022. The world has changed a lot since I was a kid, and you are all bombarded by content. The question is, what kind of content should you make? And what kind of content should you watch? In this video, I'm going to give you some key tips on how to curate content so you're not just making anything, but you're making things that matter. And not only that, you're making a difference too. Here at Video Allies, our whole channel's goal is to help people to create not just content, but great content. So you're surrounded by Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Reels, TikTok, all of these different places where you can consume content. How do you make sure it's worthwhile? Since I'm Gen X, I just want you to understand I do think about content differently, and likely you are going to be marketing to people of all different ages. So take a second and just get my perspective. I think about content differently because I grew up outdoors, literally from sun up until sundown, and even after. My generation, we like to play outdoors. There was no other entertainment in the house. So if you wanted something interesting, you were out with your friends or out on your bike or out with your animals. I had horses. We all had something. So Gen X is used to being out and about, and you need to know something. I actually don't like being marketed to all day long. It bothers me when my phone pings and dings at me all day long. So if I'm going to watch your content, it really needs to be good. I'm going to share with you some things that I think you should have in mind as you are creating content, no matter what platform you're on, especially for Gen Xers. Point number one is the information or content you're making valuable, either to you and you want to share it, or to someone else. Why do they want to watch it? There's someone who thinks sums up the slightly cynical side of Gen Xers, our generation, who were between the kids of the baby boomers, a whole generation who all of a sudden was like going out and getting those divorces and doing all kinds of things that their parents hadn't done and leaving us kids to figure it out ourselves. That meant I got myself up, got to school on time, walked myself home from school, put myself on my homework duty, made sure it got done, and I might even start dinner for the family. So we're a little cynical and realism comes in spades. A great example is David Letterman. He's a little older than me. However, he really got it. Discerning and cynical and probably a little skeptical too, David Letterman had this funny, dismissive way of having a late night talk show. You would think that'd be a big deal, but you would almost think every night we were annoying him by asking him to come into work and get paid, I don't know, millions every year to be this host. I want you to think like David Letterman when you're making your content. He had a really great phrase in this little short skit. We'll just show you a sample of it. And it was a segment where he would say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next segment, we have a special something for you called, Is This Anything? Is This Anything was pretty funny because he would have the big curtains open up and somebody would be doing something behind the curtain. And as it opened, the audience would either laugh because it was weird or goofy, or they'd be impressed by something that looked like it could be hard. And David Letterman would just watch the whole sequence, look at Paul and say, I don't know, is that anything? And people would either laugh and say, yeah, that's something. It was someone juggling or maybe juggling on a unicycle, something difficult. Something that made you feel like, that's something. But funny enough, there were some times when someone was doing something like with a hula hoop or something really silly when people would just say, no, I don't think that's anything. I don't think I care about that. So that's the key. In your videos, you need to ask yourself always, is this anything? Am I just filming to film myself? Am I just trying to get my quota today because I need to be on Instagram because all my friends are there? Is this anything is going to save you? I'm going to give you the next steps to help you know, is your content anything and what you need to do to make sure that it is. I'm coming at you with this video because I think we are in a content emergency. And that means why everything is not something worth filming. In order to avoid this content emergency and just bombarding people with stuff, because remember, human beings need to have valuable lives. I think I come back to that point where don't put anything out in the world that isn't going to truly lift or help someone. Is that anything means, is it anything for anyone? Is it going to do any good for them? I'm not going to do numbers because I'll probably get them off. But this finger, first one, is going to be protect your actual life and your privacy. Don't film everything that goes on, especially those who are raising small children. If you were in the movie industry, think of it this way. Every child that gets filmed has to have its parents' consent written out, and you need to have a contract to be able to show that child. Just because it's your child doesn't mean that that child really wants to be filmed, because years and years from now, what if they become that viral kid who fell on their face in something and, oh, you're that kid. Be careful what you do put out there for yourself and your family. So protect your real life so that your curated content or your videos will actually have meaning. Keep them separate and keep them safe. Like Gandalf said,
keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Number 2, what is worth filming? Things that are worth filming are, there's the 3 E's that I've heard used many times. Things that are entertaining, number 1. You've got to at least entertain. That's like the bottom rung. Second would be educational. And there's, of course, that term called edutainment now that is all over YouTube. It helps people to learn in a fun and entertaining way, which is more of what we'll be bringing you as we have things not only in the studio, but also out and about when we are working with our clients and out in the world. The third E is to elevate. I'm going to incorporate those 3 E's as I give you the rest of these tips. Is it entertaining? Is it educational in some way? They're learning something new. And if at all possible, are you lifting people a little? I like what Sebastian says in his other video about structure. He kind of says, and this is his theory too, teach somebody something in your videos so that hopefully, even though don't tell YouTube, they'll, after your video, they'll get off of YouTube and off their computer and go do something and maybe make their life a little bit better by experiencing something like Gen Xers used to do. So what are those things that are worth filming? It's the stuff that's inside of those great novels and classics. 1, triumph over obstacles. Why is that even on a YouTube video? We love to see someone who has a before and after. Maybe they had this big transformation, going on a diet, working out, learning something difficult, or those challenge videos where this tiny little girl goes in with the Marines to see if she can somehow survive Marine training. We love to see that. We like to see the ugly duckling become the beautiful swan. So transformation stories, it's like we can't get enough of them. Another great thing is unique knowledge. I actually watch a lot of videos from older people who some might not think are camera ready or they're not glamorous or anything. They're just older men teaching about nutrition. I'm interested in that. And I watch video after video because they're providing me unique knowledge that they present in a very clear and helpful way. Another one is life story moments. People love to see life story moments, and this could be in the form of a documentary. You look at a lot of Vice documentaries, they're capturing people in very difficult situations, a piece of life. They're not going to their house on days where they're just having Taco Tuesday or whatever. They're going when they're in the middle of a crisis, and it raises something in us as humans wanting to be a little better. Or think of it this way, how much have we been glued to the news and watching some of the wars and other problems going on in the world, and we see these little heroes rise up. I saw this one of a woman in Ukraine recently. I don't know when you're watching this, but she decided to stay back and help, and she was just like filling sandbags and doing her part. An older woman in her 60s with braids. She looked tough and strong. She said, I'm here for the duration. I'm here to help. A little moment in her life. No one knew who she was before this, but in that moment in time, she was a hero, and we crave heroes because we need inspiration like that. Remember that elevate part? That's where that fits in. Now, at Video Allies, we don't really do a lot of wedding videos, hardly ever, but that is something that people will definitely invest in because it is a major event in their life and a milestone that they want recorded. So you look for those major events and milestones in other people's lives again. When you graduate, when you're married. These are those photo album moments. Now, maybe that's very Gen X of me to say photo album because this is everybody's album now. But I still like to open that book and turn the pages. Just recently, I had a major life event. I'm not going to share all of it yet, but I'm building a documentary where I found my birth parents. It's been a lot of decades, and I didn't know what was missing in my life. When I went back, and I've now been sending them photos, we've been filling each other in on the decades of our lives that we weren't together. It's been pretty cool. And those milestones, those moments from a photo album have made all the difference in us catching up with each other. You can do the same thing with your videos. Speaking of Is This Anything, what about our channel, Video Allies? We've been doing this for a few months, and we know how it does take some time for us to get on YouTube's radar and your radar. So is this channel anything? Have we helped you with even one thing? We've noticed that our viewers have been a little bit shy, so we're going to start curating our comment section more with challenges. We're going to give you some challenges and we want to hear what you're making. So if you think this is anything, please do like this channel. There's a reason I'm asking why. It will help YouTube to rank our video a little bit higher, and then we can keep bringing more content like this. As one of those kids who ran outside all day long with no shoes, just playing in the streets until the lights went on, and then I decided, am I hungry? I think I'll go home now. I would encourage you to think carefully about what you're creating so that you can curate something that might be interesting for us Gen Xers as well. And anyone younger than me, you'll be doing a favor also to your generations, because you won't be putting things out there just because you can, but because it's going to be worth something for them. To finish up, the ethical challenge is what you're making worth anything? Our goal here is to make things that are helpful for you to consider, to think about as you're making content, and to remember to stay true to yourself, to be unique, and to bring your very best self and the best self of others to the world through your content. So video allies, the idea of allies means we're all in this together. That means we're allies, but you're also our allies. So I'm offering you a challenge. Present something that you've already made that you think passes that test, that it entertains, educates, and elevates, and put a link to it here in our comments, and let's help each other here as we are allies to each other.